Hello summoners, welcome back to the channel, and in this video we will be playing around with the 565 Sabretooth with the Sasquatch synergy. And he is an incredibly hard hitting character. You can probably already see he is amazing for Labyrinth of Legends. And first I want to talk about how he works without his synergy with Sasquatch. Like naturally, if you have him, he doesn't need to be awakened in order to do this, by the way. So he has these persistent charges, and with the Sasquatch synergy, every time you use your SP3 you gain one, only once per fight. So without the Sasquatch synergy, eventually you're going to lose them all, because every fight you consume one, and like you have to build him up all over again if you reach 0. So you want to have this synergy, you want to use one SP3 in every single fight, and after 15 Furies it's a little harder to build them up. You need to use your SP3 and quit during that, so it does take a decent amount of revives to get this strain going, but I mean not that much. It is still practical. It's kind of similar to how people use Morning Star in Labyrinth and Abyss. You build her up in the first fight using SP3, gaining the soul, quitting, doing that again till you have 5. So it is still going to be cheaper than most options. Aegon is still the king of both Labyrinth and Abyss, and even characters like Colossus with synergies, Guillotine 2099 will probably be better than him, both items wise and time wise, now that his furies are capped at 30, but he is still, I believe he is still in top 5 for Labyrinth at least, because it just takes him one character in the team in order for him to do this kind of damage, and then you can build take other 3 slots for anything else, and he is capable of soloing most fights here. Now Aegon on the other hand packs a lot of utility with an incredible amount of damage, so that is the reason he will be number 1 for the foreseeable future. Like, he can shrug off debuff, so he can take fights like Abomination and stuff. But Sabretooth is really decent option for like initial completion if you have this guy at 565, and everything other than Labyrinth, Abyss, like Realm of Legends or Act 6, you can do a lot of stuff with this guy with the Sasquatch synergy. And Sasquatch is a pretty great character himself, and between the two they can handle a lot of stuff. He also has cold snap immunity, which is not as rare. I do believe he was the first one to have cold snap immunity. He was released before Mephisto, I think. So he has that going for him, and look at that damage finishing off Labyrinth Spider-Gwen. By the way, I have never taken that fight. I recently pulled an Aegon, luckily, so I probably will just be using him with the characters in both Labyrinth and Abyss. Abyss streams coming shortly after Cyber Monday, so stay tuned for that. And now coming back to Sabretooth, like usually when people plan Labyrinth runs and Abyss runs, they know what kind of damage to expect from the main damage dealer, be it Aegon or She-Hulk or Corvus Glaive or Star-Lord. You kind of test them out in the first few fights, you know what you're getting into. But with Sabretooth, I don't think a lot of people can build him up to 30 stacks, because it takes some revives to do that, and it's just a waste of resources, especially if you are just gonna if you're going to commit, then of course you're going to do it, but just to try out how the numbers look using all those revives seems like waste. So that is the reason these videos are kind of important if you are going to use Sabretooth. Also, like, the biggest thing is you always use one SP3 every single fight. Otherwise, it's not like if you miss SP3 or you mess up, you die before reaching your SP3. It can happen, especially in Abyss. And Labyrinth is relatively easier, but in Abyss I'm sure there are some fights where it's really hard to reach your SP3 or something. but it's not like if you don't do that in one fight, all your damage is gone. He does have you can like get 6 at most, I think, persistent charges, so you can mess up a little bit, but keep that in mind. Try to use SP3 as soon as possible in every single fight. Actually, if you also can somehow bring in Killmonger synergy, he does also have defensive ability reduction when the opponent has a debuff on them, so you can maybe use that. But again, it's like the more synergy you add, the less practical it usually gets, and especially for Abyss. It is doable, like Brian did his initial clear with Sabretooth. But the main question, in my opinion at least, is that whether you should rank him up. Like, if you don't have an Aegon, you do have a 5-star, 6-star Sabretooth, you do have a 4-star or above Sasquatch. Now, should you rank this guy up for Labyrinth completion, exploration, or Abyss initial completion? And the answer is probably like he is a really solid character for all that. Again, I would say that if you have Colossus, he's much better character overall. If you have Guillotine 2099, she is better for Labyrinth completion and stuff. And another thing is that like Labyrinth revolves are so outdated right now that even if you do complete and explore it, you don't even get any TFI basics. So taking them, like using more important resources to get less important, yeah, there are some shards, I guess, and a lot of signature stones in exploration as well, like 5-star 6 stones. But overall, if you want to take him up just for that, then I wouldn't do it. But he, on the other hand, he also has some decent prestige. Like when he came out, it was really high. He was a profile character of so many people, but it is still pretty decent, and he is an alright above average defender. He gets regeneration when he gets it, so that makes him a little annoying on defense. Not a top tier defender, but he's alright. So he does have a decent amount of versatility going for him. Plus, again, he has some powerful synergies with Killmonger with defensive ability reduction, and of course the Sasquatch synergy, and he is cold snap immune once again, and so he can be very useful. Personally, because now I have pulled an Aegon, I will not be taking him up. But when I saw this synergy before it got capped to 30, I did grind for 4-star Sasquatch just in case I want to use him later for Abyss or something. But the thing with 4-star Sasquatch is that, again, you do need one mystic character, and 4-star Sasquatch won't cut it. So ideally you at least need a 5-star one if you want to bring them all in Abyss and have a good run. So this is probably going to be the last fight here. No, there is actually one fight more after this with Vision, so to showcase how he does against bleed immune characters. Although he doesn't have, like, most of his damage does come from the physical hits, and his bleeds are pretty decent, but they don't do a ridiculous. Also, I'm not sure if he might have other synergies as well that I'm forgetting about. I think Red Guardian has one. I'm not even sure, but do let me know if you are a pro Sabretooth player, like if I'm missing something. But he does seem like a really impressive character, all built up. You can see like the damage speaks for itself. Another thing I want to mention is that he feels really aggressive to play. Like it feels really easy to intercept with him. It looks like the fight is going really quickly when you're playing with him. And I'm not sure, it might be like the playstyle and stuff, but it's just I have had a really good time with him in Labyrinth. That is the reason I went to like Cyclops. I went up to Cyclops. I took a different path. I haven't even done that one. Like in Labyrinth, I've just done the initial completion, which is going to change pretty soon now that I do have an Aegon. And in this, again, every single fight, when you start it, try to get to USP3 as soon as possible. as soon as you hit it, you would see that you gain a persistent charge. So you're fine from that. If you mess up, you die, you can revive and you'll start from there once again. You can again use SP3 and you'll be safe. So he is a pretty good option for stuff like that, like Labyrinth and stuff, which I've probably said a million times by now, but it is a long video and I don't have much to say about Sabretooth, except from what I've already said, so I'm not sure. I'm going to just stall you guys for another 2 minutes. Actually, let's talk about his suicide compatibility. So in this video I am running him with full suicide masteries, and he's alright with them, but again, this is the CCP beta, so I was healing. It was like really easy to heal him up before every single fight. He was holding everything, but if you are using him in the main server for your actual run, then like I really like using his special 2, and the final part was if it crits, it was hitting the damage cap, so you will end up taking a lot of recoil damage in that way. I guess not that much, but like a good 20-25% of your health every single fight, considering like you play perfectly, and then if you mess up, even more. Like here, this was I wish my rank 5 vision hit like that. That was a lot of damage, but you're going to see his regeneration in action here. Like, it's not a joke. At this point, like when I took that SP1, I was like, I will have to stop using my special 2s because I don't want recoil to kill me. But we did regain some health, so I continued with the SP2 spam. But overall, I think that in your actual Labyrinth or best run, I would rather use Sabretooth without suicide masteries, especially because Sasquatch also doesn't benefit that much from him. He also requires SP2 spamming, plus if you bring in Killmonger, then you're probably going to bring in Void as well, and then Void is another character who really sucks with suicide masteries, but without them he is of course incredibly powerful. So yeah, even without suicides he will hit like a truck. And that's gonna do it for this one. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Subscribe to the channel for more content, like this video, share with your alliance, and stay safe. Bye bye.